Now the only thing left to do is take this thing out of here and wait for a shipment of metal to arrive. Delivery, perfect time. I got your steel. I hope I didn't hold you up too long. All right, if I ordered the right stuff, this ought to look like a car frame when I open it up. Yep, looks just like a car frame. And now I began the simple task of turning this into a piece of steel that looks exactly like that. This gives me the ability to slide this in and out as I'm working on it and make each one of these pieces individually rather than working with 4 sides at one time. And all I have to do is either slide it over the top of this and mark it all at once, or I can take it apart and do one side at a time, work each side. And one other thing, if I made the other side of the car right, as I was laying in my frame rails, this piece right here, I should be able to just reverse and make the other side. We'll see how that works out for me. This is probably going to take a while. You've probably got something better to do than watch me do all of this. You may also notice that I cut a little bit outside the lines. I don't really trust the guy that marked this pattern out. Hey, I heard that. I'm not sure if I like your tone. I've been doing this crap longer than you have. Yikes! Somebody didn't have their coffee this morning. Violence is never the answer. I've been taught a very important lesson. I'm going to be a whole lot nicer to the help from now on. I promise. Right, peace and harmony reigns over the shop. Everybody's back to work. Got this thing cut to length. Now comes the fun part of actually making it fit. All right, we're going to slide this in here and see if it's anywhere near where it needs to be. I know there's still a lot of trim that needs to be done, as I did cut it a little outside the lines. Hey, I heard that. That is not too damn bad. Well, that fits pretty good. I started cutting on that mark right there and rotated it up, cut down that line thinking I would cut into that cut. Turns out it cut right there, and that mark would have been a little bit short. So I got lucky on that one. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Actually, when you're working with steel, it's probably better to be good than lucky. And now, time to fire up the duplicator. Perfect parts every time with the duplicator. Now that the fit has pretty well been established, I need to clean up all this metal down here, get all the paint off it where I can weld, trim it up straight, figure out exactly how it's going to be cut, folded, so that it's all going to look like, I don't know, like it's supposed to be part of the car. All right, well, I'm not going to subject you to any more of that pain and agony. What I'm going to do is clean all this stuff up, and once I get it cleaned up and straightened up, then I'll record a little bit more. Well, it appears I've left a little bit of a gap there. No problem. Just cut out a little piece of tin, beat it into shape with a hammer, and lock it into place with about 25 pairs of vice grips. Throw some half-ass welds on it. Doesn't look too bad. This is my captive nut plate. I ended up having to do it this way because I didn't do it while I could get down into the bottom of the box, but it is a 1/4 inch bolt through about a 3/8 inch hole or so the nut can slide around. It's the easiest way I could come up with, since I already made the boxes. I can't get down in there and really weld anything, so once I put this bolt through the hole, I'll weld it from the bottom side so it doesn't loosen up again. I'll just grind that bolt flush and tack weld it. What I'm going to work on next is going to be some bracing. What I got to do is something at an angle that way, and something at an angle the other way, and something down from here to help support the weight down onto the main frame. All right, this was a simple X-brace until I realized something. If you put an X-brace in that angles forward as it goes across, then at the intersection point, if this brace is square with the lower tube, then the brace that intersects it, as you can see by the piece of angle I have clamped to it, no longer intersects it at a 90 degree. So you have to rotate both braces. I've figured out exactly the degree, 15 degrees, which means that cut down there has to be done at 2 angles. So that everything intersects in the middle, exactly parallel. So all of this seemed pretty easy when I started it. I was just going to have to cut that at an angle so that this X-brace would go across. But as that X-brace comes across from left to right as you're looking at it, it also comes forward, which means that the brace that comes from down here going up will also come forward. And if this brace is put in there like that, then it doesn't intersect completely parallel, as you can see by the piece I have clamped on here. In order to do that, I have to rotate it. So this cut then becomes a little bit more complicated. It has to be cut at 2 angles. My saw design is not capable of cutting this much of an angle. So I can run it through the bandsaw on the flat plate, but the problem is, when I built my flat plate, I didn't put any angle in it. So what I've done is I've made myself a little jig that gets me close enough to 15 degrees, and I can just run it through that and cut it. All right, let's see what happens. Yeah, the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to run into the camera and the lights. And these are the notches on the upper end of the tube where they intersect the round tube. And there's nothing square or straight or parallel on these either. Just one more little thing that I have to do, and that's cut the angle right here. So this can sit on top of this tube. Cut the angle right underneath here so that it's exactly the right length to reach to here. And both of those angles have to be perfect so that this tube basically looks like a straight tube going right through there. Should be simple. Well, with the frame finally, can't really say finished, but the major structural points are there. I can put the motor in for a test fit. And what I think I'd like to do next is put it in there and maybe see if I can make it run. Well, I said put the motor in the car, but it's more of a put the car on the motor situation. What's going on? So now if my captive nut plates work, all I have to do is get it a little bit closer, put a bolt up through it. I tell you what, why don't you just have a seat over there? That way there's somebody to fill out the accident reports if things go wrong here. Some things you might not want to put in the report. All right, that takes a little bit of weight off of it. All right, no loud pops or bangs, nothing broke. It didn't hit the floor. I am kind of surprised that it didn't go lower than what it is as far as ride height, because those are just Toyota Celica front springs that are in the back. Maybe I just got to wiggle it around, let it settle a bit. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me introduce to you the first, as far as I know, and the only Toyota Celica GT-SS. It actually exists. I mean, the motor's mounted in it. What more can I say? I never thought I'd see anything like this. Well, up until a few months ago. Got a lot of work left to do on it, but hey, the motor's in. Now that it's in there, I think I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get it running in there. I know getting it running doesn't need to be the next step. I know I'm a long ways away from really that, but if I get it running, I can route all the tubing, lines, wires, stuff like that, and then I'll know better where I want to put the rest of the stuff, like firewall and some extra bracing and things like that. My biggest concern is where the tubes for the radiator will go and some lines to the AC compressor. That's going to be about the only thing that are really major that might not be able to be maneuvered around a lot. And the exhaust looks like I came out pretty good right here. Just gonna have to snake it around here to put a muffler on it. Yes, I am quite happy. So this is what it takes to build a custom car. A lot of long, boring, cutting angles, grinding stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching if you're still here. And remember, like, subscribe, and share this video.